Good, beautiful morning, everybody. Silas back today. I'm out here at the lake. I figured it was time for a nice, relaxing adventure. I do want to mention that today's video is sponsored by Engwe bicycles. We'll get to more about that here in a minute, but first things first, let's go take a tour and see what's up around here. Now, if you watched my channel for any length of time, you know this is probably my favorite camping spot. And normally it's really good fishing. It's really good mushroom hunting. Not here isn't very good mushroom hunting, but not very far from here and stuff like that. It's just a really good place to go, but look at this. It's just about dry. I mean, this is normally where you put your boat in the water. And this thing is just sitting on top of the ground. I've caught fish off this dock before. Ain't catching no fish now. There's a little tiny remnants of a creek flowing through here in the middle. And it's not really even flowing. I have never seen anything like this in all my life. This is wild. I've seen droughts before, but it never got this bad. I've seen it to where, you know, the water would go out a little ways, but it was always still water out there. Last year was pretty bad. The water wasn't deep enough to get my kayak out, but at least there was still water. I think what I want to do while it's still fairly early in the morning is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run to the dam, do a little bit of fishing, see if I can catch anything, and if not, we'll come back here. First cast of the day. We'll try it a little bit longer and then we'll head back to the campground. Well, no luck on the fishing front yet. We're going to go back later today when it's warmed up a little bit and the sun's been up for a little bit. Maybe that'll make a difference. Normally, the fishing doesn't get good for another 2 or 3 weeks, so maybe I'm just a little bit too early. It's been really warm though, so I thought maybe, but I don't know. As you can see, I did not bring my trailer with me today, so I don't have anything to sleep in. What I'm going to sleep in is this right here. Good old back seat. This is what I slept in when I went to Texas, and this truck's pretty roomy. I have to bend my knees a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. I came pretty sparse today. I brought my auction buy grill, the Coleman grill, got a couple of propane canisters for it, got my pillow, got my blanket down there in the duffel bag. That's got all my cooking supplies in it. Brought some bottled water, brought my EcoFlow. Then of course I brought all my camera gear, brought the bicycle. I brought 2 fishing poles, although I don't know that I'm going to need both of them. This one here is brand new. I just got it the other day. I haven't tried it out yet. This is the one I had last year. This is my Guggen Squad here. And then up here, I know it's disorganized. I got more fishing gear. I got some more cooking supplies, more camera gear, tackle box, my leftover bag from where I got a donut this morning. And then in here, I have my food. I didn't know if I want to catch anything or not, so just in case, I brought a few things. I didn't bring a lot, but I did bring a little bit. So like I say, I'm traveling pretty sparse, but this is just like a one day, one night. Tomorrow morning, I've got to be back at the yard, so it's not like I can hang out for a great length of time. I'll probably hang out here in the morning, probably go fishing one more time, cook breakfast and all that sort of stuff, but I do need to be back around 10:30 or so. But speaking of time, it's only about 10 o'clock right now, so we got plenty of time. We got all day. We're going to do some exploring. We're going to do some cooking. We're going to do some wild foraging. Maybe I can find some mushrooms. I don't know. Morels, it's way too early for those, but maybe I can find some oysters. Maybe I can find some other wild edibles. I really don't know. Do some more fishing. We're just going to have a good old-fashioned adventure out here. So let's go do a little bit of exploring out here where the water used to be. This is absolutely insane. I remember one year I had a trot line set up over here somewhere off this direction a little ways, and I had to wade out here with chest waders on, and you can kind of see we're getting closer to the water, the actual channel now. And when I got to that point, the water was kind of bouncing over the top of the chest waders. And then somewhere, it's pretty well falling apart now. There used to be some tree limbs out here laying around that I used to go fishing by, and it was about 5 feet of water around those tree limbs. So where we're at right now, 0 feet of water. So picture that. Normally the water in this area would be right about here. That's a lot of water. It is still flowing though. I was gonna go to that side, but I really don't feel like getting all nasty and muddy, so Oh, maybe we can cross down here, we'll see. Nah, the ground's too muddy around there, so we will go drive around. There's a road that you can get a little bit closer to that side. Maybe we'll go do that a little bit later. I don't know what to do about all this dry weather we've been having. We had a wet winter. Bunches of snow and ice, but snow and ice isn't quite the same as rain. We really need a bunch of rain. So this ongoing drought here in Kansas is getting worse and worse and worse. Hard to believe that in 2019, so just 5 years ago, this was completely flooded. And the camp spot where I have my truck parked at was underwater. This whole area was underwater. And that was just 5 years ago. 2020, we had a decent amount of rain. But 2021, 22, 23, and now 24, it's just been super, super dry. As much as I don't like rain and mud at the junkyard, I'm hoping we have a really wet spring, summer, fall, because we desperately need it. Now, before we get into the adventure part of this video, today's sponsor is Engwe Bicycles. Now, before you skip this part of the video, hear me out. If you are in the market or you've been thinking about getting in the market to buy an electric bicycle, you're going to want to watch this review because, as you know, I already have an electric bicycle from a different company. I've had it for a couple years, and it's been a good bicycle. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. However, there's a lot of things about it that I don't really like, and so all of those things are addressed in this one right here. I've been looking for a couple years for one that will kind of address all my issues that I have with that one. I was looking for something that would work a little bit better for what I do, and so when I came across this one, I said, that's the one. So like I say, if you're in the market for an electric bike, you're definitely going to want to stick around for this part of the video. This is the Engwe L20 2.0. They mailed this to me a few weeks ago, and when I got it, it was super easy. Just took it out of the box. It was already mostly assembled. I had to do a little bit of assembly, but it was super simple. I didn't even have to read the instructions. Of course, I'm familiar with bicycles and how everything works on them, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I was able to, I had to adjust the front brakes, which wasn't a big deal. Super simple. They included all the tools in the box that you need to be able to adjust stuff and attach stuff. The basic bicycle itself has 20-inch tires, and it has a 7-speed system on it. I believe it's a Shimano 7-speed, and it's got a 7-speed rear derailleur. Those are entry-level components, however, they work great. And that's one thing I want to mention right now at this point in time is that this bicycle is very affordable. It's got a lot of bang for your buck. I was looking at e-bikes at the store not too long ago, and the prices on those things about blew me away, and they didn't have that high end of components on them. They were probably 1 or 2 steps above this, but they were double the price. I mentioned brakes a second ago. It does have disc brakes on it. One more really cool feature about the L20, let me turn the key off real quick, is that this bike here will fold up. Let's say you're in a vehicle that, like, you don't have a truck, so you have a car and you just need to be able to get this in the trunk. Obviously, this is not going to fit in the trunk like it is. You can actually just pull some levers, pull this lever here, that pulls down, the handlebars fold over, and then there's another lever right here, pull that, and that pops it in half just like that. You can spin it around, and boom, just like that. Now it's a much smaller package. And so I'll tell you a few of the things that I like better about this bicycle compared to my other one is, number one, the step through frame. My other one is more of a mountain bike type frame that has the bar coming down like this, and it's hard to get on and off of it if you're wearing layers of clothing or wearing hiking boots or stuff like that. Whereas this one here, I can just step right through just like that. Done. I can get up on the seat. Boom, done. No big deal. The next thing that I really like is the fact that it has not only a rear rack, but it has a front rack. You guys know I like to do a lot of foraging, and a lot of times I'll have to ride my bicycle for miles to be able to get where I'm going. And so being able to strap stuff down to the front and the rear is a great thing. My other bike doesn't even have the provisions to attach a rack if I wanted to. Another really cool thing that I like about this one better than the other is that it has fenders. If you guys watched my last camping video that I made, close to a year ago, I was going down a muddy dirt road out there, actually, a little ways, and it was slinging mud off the back tire of the bike I was riding, and it was painting my back. This one's got fenders. That won't be an issue. Another really cool thing about this bike is that it has a built-in headlight and taillight. And these aren't just your normal headlight and taillight. Check this out. As you can see there, when you squeeze the brake handle, the light comes on. And let's see here, where's the light button? Right here, this one. You push that and it has a headlight on, and then the taillight is on all the time. Once again, it's kind of hard to tell in the light. Now I'm sure that will eat up some of the battery running it like that, so better turn that off now before I forget about it. Now, one thing about the Engwe is that in order to be able to ride the bike, you have to leave the key in and you have to turn it to the on position. The key won't fall out, it'll stay right there. You just have to remember it's in there. And now the battery is activated, and then everything will turn on. Just like that. Takes a second and then initializes. There you go. It does come with 2 keys. I already took the other one off and put it in safekeeping. Put that back in there, turn it back on. Let's go for a ride. It's pretty simple. When you first turn it on, it'll always read 0. That means it is 100% done by pedal. It's not going to work with the button anymore. As you can see, I turn the throttle and nothing happens. So you can turn the setting up to 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Riding around the campground, I've found like a 2 or a 3 is about good. And then there's 2 ways you can do this. Let me pick the kickstand up real quick. You can either go ahead and start pedaling, and then it'll kick in just like that. And so now it's pedal assist. Or if you don't feel like pedaling, all you got to do is twist the throttle like this. As you can see, it will do about 20 miles an hour with nothing but the throttle right here. Now with pedal assist, that's where the settings come into play. So if you're riding around the campground, now this is one thing I guess I should mention that I probably don't like about this bike. Probably the only thing I don't like about it is that when you start pedaling, it takes a second for it to kick in. And see there, now it finally kicked in, which isn't a big deal on flat ground, but if you're going up a hill or you're in sand or you're in mud or something like that, it can be kind of a pain. But once you get it going, it's not a big deal, and on flat ground, it's not a big deal. And something else you can do if you are in a situation where that's going to be an issue is you can go ahead and crank the throttle first, get it going, and then you can switch to pedaling. But let's go ahead and get this out on the road. I'm going to pedal, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in setting 5. We're going to see just how fast this bad boy will go. Now I am riding into the wind, and I was still able to get this up to 27 miles an hour. But there's really no reason to go that fast. I find when I'm riding an e-bike, I like to go around 20 miles an hour. That's a good safe speed to be on a bicycle. It'll get you where you're going fast enough, but it's not a wild ride. But up here is a dirt road, so we're going to go ahead and go up there. I'm not going to push it to the limit anymore. I'm going to ride it like I would normally ride it. That way I can do an honest review of how it handles on this dirt road up here. So I've dropped it down into 4th gear now. I'm probably going to go ahead and put it into like setting number 3 or so. The Engwe L20 is rated for somebody between the height of 5'4" and 6'2". I'm around 5'9" or 5'10" when I'm wearing boots, I guess. That counts. But anyway, it fits me perfect. It takes about 6.5 hours to fully charge a battery, and that's if it's all the way dead when you start. I did look up the official speed ratings, and this is rated at 20 miles an hour with the throttle, which is exactly what it did, and it's rated at 28 miles an hour with pedal assist, which is exactly what I got it up to, so they're spot on with those specs. It's got a 750 watt motor or 1125 peak, and it has a 52 volt lithium ion battery. The bike itself weighs about 68 pounds, and with the battery weighs about 84 pounds. It has a max weight rating of around 264 pounds of what you can put on here. I'm 180 pounds, and so I've got plenty of room to put a basket or a rack or whatever I want to on the front and back. That way I can carry gear or tools or whatever I need to with me. I will be using this bike a ton, I am sure, not only when I go out on camping adventures or other outdoor adventures, but also at the junkyard, because I'm always needing to run back in the cars, and right now I've got to walk. And I thought about buying a dirt bike, or I'd love to have a side-by-side, but that's just crazy expensive. So I think this bike is going to be perfect for that. I am going to put a basket or a rack or something on the back of it. That way I can throw a few tools in it if I need to run out back and pull something off of a car, or take pictures or whatever I need to do, and then ride it back up to the front. Speaking of price, this bike is very affordable. The MSRP on this bike is $999. However, as of filming this, I believe they have it listed for $799. So they run deals on these, and honestly, $799 for a good quality electric bike is a really good deal. So far, I am very pleased with this bike. If I find any other issues with it, I'll be sure to tell you about it. I'm not getting paid to talk about this bike. This is a 100% honest review. But like I say, I've been looking for a bike like this for a couple years, and I was waiting for just the right one to come along. And I believe, so far anyway, that I have found just the right bike in this Engwe L20 2.0. But I'm going to get back to the regular adventure. If you are interested in one of these, you can check out the link in the description below. Not only do they have the L20 available, but they have lots of other styles of bike as well. They have accessories, you name it on there. A friend of mine actually bought one of these as well, but his isn't the L20. I forget what model he bought. It's a different style. It's more of a sporty type frame, and he's a huge fan of it. He's been using it now for about 3 weeks and hasn't had any issues, and he absolutely loves it. But anyway, be sure to check out that link in the description below. Check out Engwe, and with that, let's get back to the adventure. I am getting a little hungry. Didn't have any luck catching any fish. Thought about starting a campfire, however, I only have one fire starter log, so I think I'm gonna have to wait on that until later. I do, however, have my little Coleman stove that I bought at the auction. I guess I could hook it up and throw a pan on it and cook some bacon real quick, but that was gonna be my breakfast. So another option is there's actually a Sonic about 6 or 7 miles from here, so I could run to Sonic, get me a breakfast burrito. All right, I made the executive decision. I'm gonna go ahead and cook me up some bacon. If I run out of food, then I'll worry about that later. I can go to Sonic later. I've never used this before, so we're gonna find out if it works or not. It works. It's kind of finicky on the gauge, but you know what? I bought it at an auction, so what can you expect? It does have a grate that goes on top that I can cook directly on, and this here will actually catch the grease. However, I don't feel like having to clean this, so I'm just gonna cook in a pan, and then I can clean just the pan. I might cook some eggs too, so definitely gonna have to have a pan for that. Only bad thing is this is all I brought. I forgot to bring a spatula. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and make some scrambled eggs. There we go. Lunch is served. I forgot my lawn chair too, but that's okay. Before we dig in, let's say grace. All right, let's see how good it came out. I'm sure it's good. Oh yeah, an over medium egg would have been better, but I'll take what I can get. It wouldn't be an adventure made from scratch if I didn't forget something. At least I brought the tongs. That's better than nothing at all. Good. All right, now we are back in the woods. What I am doing now is I am foraging for wild edibles. Like I said earlier, it's way too early for morels, although check this out right here. A bunch of mushrooms. Obviously they're not the kind that you can eat. Technically these are edible, but they just go to nothing when you cook them in a pan. Those are good if you want to add them to like a soup or a stew or something like that. Anyway, I doubt I'll find any morels. There is a chance. I have found morels around this time of the year before, but it's just like I was saying earlier, it's been a really dry year, so I'm not expecting to find any morels. But there's a good chance that we'll find maybe some oysters, but then also who knows what other sort of edible items we'll be able to find out here. So we'll just keep our eyes out and see what we can do. One year I found a whole bunch of mint, and so we could make some tea if I could find some more of that, but we'll see what we come across. Here's something. Looks like garlic mustard. Garlic mustard is edible. A lot of people use it in omelets. They make pesto sauce out of it. It's kind of an invasive plant. It's not native to North America, and it releases a chemical into the ground that can cause other native vegetation to not grow. I have a few eggs left, so I'm going to go ahead and pick some of this, and maybe we can make an omelet out of it later or something like that. I'm just going to pick out a handful of leaves off of it. These get much bigger, and they actually grow white flowers later in the year, and the flowers are edible as well. Very early in the season right now, so we'll just pick some of this here. Normally I would just take a small sample of it, but these are an invasive plant anyway, so I don't feel bad in taking a bunch of it. However, I did forget to bring my mesh bags. I did find a plastic bag in the truck, so I want to use that to carry my edibles. I always recommend using a mesh bag. Plastic bags, if I can get this thing to work, it's catching all the wind. Plastic bags will cause whatever you're picking to sweat sometimes, which it's not that hot today, so we should be fine anyway. But mesh bags let it breathe. Plus for mushrooms, it'll spread spores out of the bag, whereas a plastic bag holds it all contained. Plus these here rip really easy. And I just noticed there's a whole thing of mushrooms right beside it. These are kind of old ones here. But yeah, we'll grab a little bit more of this. Make us an omelet later. Anytime you're trying edible plants, make sure you know 110% what you're picking. Make sure you know about it, and then always eat just a small sample of it the first time you eat it, just in case you have an allergic reaction. One thing I do want to mention about these ink caps, I'll go ahead and pick one of them here for you. These here, well, that in there might still be okay. These are technically edible. However, if you consume alcohol within, I think 3 days, 2 or 3 days, I can't remember the exact number, on either direction of eating one of these, either before or after, you can get extremely sick. However, I don't drink alcohol at all ever, so that won't be an issue for me. I may go ahead and pick a few of these just so I can test them out. These here are a little bit on the old side. Yeah, we'll grab a couple of these out of here. These are really dirty and really old. Those ones that were closer to the truck might be a better option, but I'll go ahead and save a couple of these in case I can't find those other ones or anything better. I think I see an oyster, but it's a really dried up oyster. Don't know if there's anything we can salvage off of this one or not, because it looks really decayed. Yeah, it's not looking good for this one. Yeah, that's brick hard, so as you can see, that is not edible. Bummer, but that does mean that maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to find some fresh ones in this area. There's the remnants of another one there, but it's really rotted. But we'll check this area out. You just never know what may be growing around. Oh, there's some more garlic mustard right there. So maybe we can pick a little bit more of that as well. A whole bunch of ink caps, but once again, these are starting to degrade pretty badly. So we'll keep our eyes out. Hopefully we can find a little bit fresher one somewhere. Or at least I can find those ones that were close to the truck. I guess I should have picked some of those. Here we go. I found some more right here. These are actually not ink caps. They're a kind of ink cap, but they're called mica caps. Now that I look at these, I think those very first ones that I found were mica caps as well. I don't think those were actually ink caps. These are edible. They just don't have much flavor. Might see if we can get some out of here. Yeah, that one's still fresh enough. We'll go ahead and pick a few of them. We'll give them a try. I'm not going to pick very many just because why bother? I just want to give them a try for this video today. There we go. I found some oysters that I think are going to be edible. However, these are absolutely covered in bugs, so I'm going to have to try to get some of those bugs out of there. Not that the bugs bother me. I mean, it is what it is. I just don't know if the bugs are toxic or not. I know in eating wild edibles that I've eaten my fair share of bugs through the years, and that's okay. But every now and then, some bugs are pretty toxic and they can make you sick. So I'm going to go ahead and try to, well, let me make sure some of these are still, yeah, these are still, the big ones are still fairly soft. Some of these small ones are kind of dried out. So if I can get enough of that cut out of there without bugs in it, I'll go ahead and save some. I got a couple off of there, but these are getting pretty hard over here, so I'm not going to pick any more than that. If a guy would have found these about a month ago, man, this would have been a mother lode right here. There's a ton of them growing on this tree. But I wish a guy could come out here and do this all the time. Unfortunately, life does not work that way. So I'm going to make the most of today, and I'm going to keep exploring, see what else we can find. There's one down here. Is it still soft? It's a little bit softer. Is it covered in bugs? Yeah, it's covered in bugs. I don't know what those bugs are, but they're getting all the oysters. This one's a lot softer than those others. So I'm going to see if I can get some of these bugs off of there. There we go. That gives me 3 pretty good chunks. Getting a little bit in here now. There's some more mica caps. Here's a whole bunch of fresh ones just starting to come up, but they're already starting to dry out just because it's so dry. But it's supposed to get a bunch of rain here in a few days. So if that happens, I think next week all these mushrooms are going to come back to life and they'll be doing good. And then hopefully we can keep getting rain for the rest of March and into April, and that way the morel season will be a good season. Oh, there's a bunch more super dried out oysters right here on this tree. It was a really good fall and winter for oysters. They were growing everywhere. There's some more right there that are all dried out. Probably one of the best years I've ever seen for oysters. That's the thing about oysters, is they'll grow all year long as long as it's not a hard freeze. If it's a hard freeze, they can't handle that. But I thought there was a chance we'd find some early morels growing out here in this really sunny area. I'm not going to pick this, but this is wild comfrey is what this is called. This can be used to treat wounds. If you grind it up, put it into a paste, you can put it on an open wound. It helps prevent infection. It can also be used as a sedative if you need to put something to sleep. However, it can be toxic even in moderate quantities, so it should be used extremely sparingly, and honestly there's probably better options out there. But I guess if you're in a survival situation and you needed a sedative, you could eat a small quantity of this. Now, the reason why you should always be really careful about wild edibles is this right here. This stuff here looks very similar to several edible species. However, it is not. This is poison hemlock. You do not want to eat that. You will not have a good day, and if you don't get to the hospital, it might be your last day. As you can see, it's pretty well in its dormant stage right now. It's just starting to shoot back up, but this stuff will get very tall and it'll have berries on it. And even those berries, if you bring them home with you and a pet or something like that eats them, they're going to have probably a really bad day or their final day. Not something to mess around with, and that's why you always make quadruple sure you know what you're picking. Looks like a beaver has been busy in here. Look at all these things that have been chopped down. That's crazy. This whole area is clear full of just stumps. There must be water around here somewhere. I think I can see it over there. Well, what do you know? There's still water in the creek. That's pretty cool. I think down the ways there's a place where a guy can get a kayak in, a ramp. So maybe I'll have to bring my kayak back next time. I plan on coming back here in a couple of weeks or so. So maybe we can get out there and do a little bit of fishing. This would probably be a really good place to set up some bank lines or trout lines or something too. So I'll have to keep this in mind. But over here, I saw some more edible plants. Yep, right here. Good old dandelions. The leaves and the flowers are completely edible on these. You can eat them raw, you can put them in a salad, you can cook them in an omelet. If you're feeling adventurous, you can even take those dandelion heads and fry them up. Get all the ants out of it. There we go. A couple more, once again covered in ants. I don't know why these are so anty. I think I saw a couple more, yeah, right here. I'm not going to pick the leaves today. I just want a few of the flowers. There we go. And I guess with that, we'll continue on down the way. See what else we can find. Look at this gnarly tree. What in the world is going on here? That thing looks weird. What in the world? I've never seen nothing like that. It's long dead, but I don't even know what that thing is or was. That is wild looking. I'm not really finding much back here, which is kind of shocking. I'm not even finding any ink caps or mica caps. I did just realize that I left my good friend Mr. Glock back in the truck. So hopefully I don't run into any mountain lions today. They have been spotting more and more of those here in Kansas. But they're not that common, and hopefully with me talking and walking around noisily through the woods, it won't be an issue anyway. There's a whole bunch of mica caps around this tree, growing everywhere. On a wet year, you can pick those by the pound. The problem is you pretty much have to cook them the same day you pick them, if not even faster. I mean, you really have about 4 or 5 hours before they just turn to mush. I've got enough of those already. We'll keep on marching. Hopefully we can find something else to add to our assortment. I'm thinking we're gonna make ourselves an omelet with all these goodies that we found. What in the world? What is this? Oh, I'm guessing this was somebody's deer hunting spot at one point in time. They had their chair sitting there behind these logs, looking out through there. It doesn't look like a very good line of sight. There's a lot of trees in there. But it looks like that chair's been there a long time, so maybe those trees weren't there. I found one of the biggest mushrooms, biggest morel mushrooms I've ever found in my life, right around this area one time. Somewhere right in this tree row. It was about a month from now though, so it had plenty of time to grow. And it was down in the grass, and I just happened to walk right over the top of it. And I looked down, gigantic mushroom. It was the only one I found in the whole area too. That's kind of interesting. There's a concrete barrier running through here, almost like a curb or something. It's got rebar in it. Just out here in the woods. I mean, we're nowhere near any roads. I'm guessing that this was put here before the reservoir was here. Maybe this was a road or something else along here. I don't know. It's interesting, whatever it is. Check this out. A piece of rocker panel trim off of something. Who knows what that's off of. I'm going to go ahead and take that back. There might be something interesting we can do with that. I don't know, maybe not, but why not? I got to take a souvenir. And is this a license plate? That is a license plate, isn't it? What year is it? Oh, here it is, 1949. That's pretty wild right there. I'm definitely keeping that. Look at all this garlic mustard. It's growing everywhere back here like carpet. Like I was telling you earlier, it will absolutely take over an ecosystem. It is growing like crazy in here, all over the place, back in those trees. What is that? Is that a tire? Or what's left of a tire? Looks like squirrels or something have been chewing on it. All sorts of interesting things back in the trees. That's why if you're physically able, it's good just to get out and go exploring. Even if you're not actually foraging for anything, just get out and go exploring. Never know what you'll see next. So I was just walking around trying to find that very first batch of mushrooms that I found, which I can't find them, but look at this right here. This tree is absolutely covered. I mean, covered in dried out oysters. That would have been the mother load about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. But yeah, I'm pretty sure those very first mushrooms I saw were mica caps, so I'm not going to worry about them. If they are ink caps, I'm going to be sad that I didn't go find them, but I'm getting thirsty, so I'm going to head back to the truck. I spoke too soon. I just found them. They're right here. Yeah, those are definitely mica caps. You see how they're more of a bronzy color or yellow color, brown, whatever you want to call it, whereas ink caps are more of a white color. So these are definitely mica caps. They're just really big ones. I think I am done in this area. There's one more area I may go check out. I don't know what time it is. I need to see. If I have time, I'll go check that area out. If not, I think we're going to go fishing. All right. Let's give this a round two. Not nearly as windy or cold as it was this morning, so hopefully it's a little bit better. Getting down here is always a challenge. All right, here we go. Well, one more cast. Well, no luck on the fishing front. That's a bummer on the fish not being able to catch any. However, let's put these plates here so they don't blow away. I came prepared. I brought some fish from my fishing trip I went on last summer. The way I preserved it is I just put it in water, filled the bag full of water, and then froze it. I thawed it out today. It's ready to go. I'm going to roll it in some fish fry, throw it some oil, and cook it up. I'm going to do some New Orleans fish fry seasoning. Pretty good stuff. Now when I caught these fish, I took all the fillets home and I went through and I cut out all the bloodlines before I froze them. That way they're pretty well just clean meat. Made sure there was no bones that I had missed or anything like that. This is probably going to be more than I can eat by myself. I probably should have put these in a little bit smaller portions, but that's okay. There we go. Well, that's no good. I was trying to put the eggs back and I dropped them. I'm glad I had them in a Ziploc bag so they didn't make a giant mess, but now they got eggshells all through them. But I was going to cook breakfast with the wild mushrooms and everything that I found today, and that's not going to happen now. Bad thing is I can't cook that stuff without eggs to cook it in, so I don't know what to do. It's kind of a bummer. I hiked all the way through the woods picking that stuff, and now I can't really cook it because by the time I get home tomorrow night, it won't be good anymore. I'll think about it. More than likely, I'm just going to have to go ahead and pitch all that stuff. But like I said, I'm going to be back out here in a couple weeks most likely anyway, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more where that stuff came from. And by then, maybe the morels will be growing too, and so we can have a really good mushroom feast. And if we get some rain, who knows what'll be growing. It was still fun picking the stuff and hiking and exploring and getting to see cool stuff. Plus, maybe you learned a thing or two so you can go out and pick some for yourself. One thing you should learn, though, is to not drop eggs. But life goes on. I'm glad I had this fish here because that way we have something to eat for tonight at least. This oil should be heated up here pretty soon. Looks like it's ready. Round two. And dinner is served. Looking pretty good. I think this has cooled down enough now. I've never tried that exact seasoning before. I like that brand. Usually I get the Cajun seasoning, and I think I like the Cajun a little bit better. There's not a whole lot of kick to this. It's got a good flavor, but I do like that kick. I know I forgot my lawn chair, but I figured I'm going to start a fire anyway. You can't go camping without a campfire, so I don't have a whole lot of wood. I don't have a saw to cut any more wood, so it's not like we're going to be hanging out here a long time. I've got this log here and what's on here, but I figured I'd hang out around the campfire, watch the sunset, and then go to bed. I've been up since about 5 o'clock this morning, so I am a little bit on the tired side if you can't tell. Nice and relaxing. I thought about going through some trees over here and foraging some more, see if I can find anything that would last long enough to take home, but I thought, you know what? I've just been going and going and going and going for I don't know how long now, a long time. And so I thought, you know what, I think it's time for me just to slow down, take it easy. I am done for the day. I'm just gonna hang out here by the fire till it's done, and I'm gonna hop in the truck. I was a little bit upset because I didn't bring my laptop, so I can't edit any video while I'm here, but then I got to thinking, you know what, I need to take a break from that too. I need to take a break from it all, and sometimes that's what adventure is all about. We had some fun today, found some cool stuff, saw some neat things, but now it is time just to take it easy. Check out that sunset. Beautiful sunset, beautiful weather. Not a breeze at all, no wind. It was so windy earlier this morning, but it is so nice out right now. Nice and warm still, but not hot. I tell you what, it is nice out here right now. I sat down for a little bit and just stared at the fire for probably the last hour or so, and I'm feeling a lot more reinvigorated. I don't know why I was dragging so bad. Well, I know why. It's because I've been getting up so early and going to bed so late lately, but just sitting down and shutting my brain down for about an hour, that did wonders for me. Unfortunately, it's 7 something right now. That sun will be completely gone here in probably another 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes or so. So I don't have time to go exploring out in the woods or anything like that. But I figured we'll just go out here and look around for a little bit and watch the sunset behind the trees. Then tomorrow morning we'll wake up and go hit the fishing hole one more time. If that doesn't work, then I guess we'll head back. I wish I could stay out here all day tomorrow. That'd be a lot of fun. I'd run to the nearest town and get some more eggs and go ahead and make me an omelet, but oh well, we will do that in the next video. I'm gonna head back to the truck. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my evening. I will just go ahead and see you guys bright and early in the morning. Good morning, everybody. It is beautiful out here this morning. I gotta say, last night wasn't the most comfortable night I've ever had. Having my legs folded like that all night long was a little bit of a challenge. I've done that before, but it's always been in the summertime, and so I don't have a blanket on, so I can just lay however I want to get comfortable. Last night I had to keep a blanket wrapped around me because it was pretty chilly. I think it got down to about 40. Battery died on the GoPro. But anyway, I had that blanket wrapped around me, and so I had to stay on the seat with my legs folded, so pretty uncomfortable. But I survived. I woke up probably 3 or 4 times through the night. And there was one point in time, about 3 o'clock this morning, I could not go back to sleep. And so I got a video on YouTube and watched that. And by the time it was over, I was tired again, so that I went back to sleep. But it's about 7 o'clock now, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure all my stuff's packed up. I'm pretty sure it is. I don't see anything laying around. But I'm going to go ahead and head to the dam one more time, see if we can't catch a fish before we leave. But then I've got to get back to the yard here pretty soon. I got people coming out, so unfortunately, vacation, if you can call it that, is just about over. Well, no luck. Fished for about an hour. There's several other guys down there. They weren't catching anything either. So it must just be a little bit too early yet for the crappie and the perch to be biting. Well, I'm gonna jump in the truck and I'm gonna head back to town. Told you guys. I'll take a number 15 supersonic, no onions.
What's the drink?
I'll do a sweet tea light on the ice.
That comes to $9.75 total.
Okay. And breakfast is served. I probably would have rather had my own homemade wild edible omelet, but this will work. Do stay tuned though. I'm going to go out to the yard later today with this bicycle. I want to show you a few more things about it, and then after that we'll close this out. And welcome back. I got back from the lake on Friday, and by the time when I left there, it was nice and calm. By the time I got home, about an hour away, the wind was blowing 50 to 60 miles an hour. It was absolutely crazy. Then I had a ton of stuff going on Saturday and Sunday, so I wasn't able to do anything then. But finally, I'm out here today on Monday. I've actually been out here working all day, and I finally have time to show you guys a little bit more about this bike. It has been so cold today. It's still really cold. It's about 32, 33 degrees. But that's a lot warmer than what it was. But I've just been riding this bike around out here, and it does great. I'm really impressed with it. With these little bit wider tires than what I had on my other bike, it makes it a little bit easier to go. So right now I am way at the very back of my junkyard. I'm at the very back of the property, and if I had to go up front now, if I had to come back here and take pictures of something, now I'd have to walk all the way back up there. But fortunately with this bike, it only takes, I don't even know how long. I guess that's what I'll do, is I'll time it as I ride back up to the building. But let's say I needed to come back here and I needed to pull, I don't know, something off of this truck over here. Let's say I needed to pull a hood ornament off of this truck. So what I would be able to do is I'm going to get me a little basket to go on the front of the bike and a basket to go on the back of the bike. I could throw my tools or whatever I'm going to need in the basket up here, ride back here real quick, pull off that hood ornament, throw it in the back basket, throw my tools back in here, and then I just hop right on here. That's what's really cool about the step-through frame. If I had a basket back here, I'd have to, on a normal bike, I'd have to swing my leg up over the top of all of it. And like right now, I'm wearing my water boots, but if I was trying to wear my overalls, if I was wearing those or something like that, and get over the top of a basket back here, that would be really hard. But with this one here, I can just step right through. Nice and handy. That's really the main reason why I wanted this bike, is for out here at the junkyard. Being able to take it camping and all that good stuff is just a bonus. It'll be a really good foraging bike as well. However, I do need to be careful with that so I don't leave it someplace where it gets taken away from me forever. I'm going to set a timer. I'm at the very back of my yard. Let's set a timer real quick. Stopwatch and start. I'm going to give myself a couple seconds because I have to get back on the bike and get going. 1 minute 36 seconds, and it took me probably about 10 seconds to get my camera set up, get on the bike and get going. So less than a minute and a half to go from the very back of the property all the way up here. I wasn't taking it full speed. I was only doing about 15 miles an hour, so that's a whole lot faster than I walk. It may not seem like much, but there are some days that I have to go back and forth from up here to different parts of the yard multiple times throughout the day. But yeah, this is going to make my life a lot easier out here at the junkyard for different things. How did this door get locked? Did I lock this from the inside on accident? There we go. I'm in here now. It's starting to rain out there. It's getting really cold again. But yes, definitely you will be seeing that bike in many more of my videos coming up on the main channel and the second channel. As part of the sponsorship, I did have to make a review video about the bike, and that's basically what this video, the purpose of this video was. However, I hope you guys did enjoy some of the foraging we did and the hanging out at the lake and just relaxing. The next video I make at the lake is just going to be hanging out, foraging, that type of stuff. Like I said before, if you are in the market for an electric bike, definitely check out Engwe bicycles, specifically the L20 if you like the one that I have. I do have a $50 discount code. If you use my code ADVENTURES in the link that's in the description below, you'll be able to save a little bit of money on it. Plus, like I say, they're always running specials on them as well. Definitely a lot of bang for the buck. Haven't had an issue with it yet. And if you're kind of on the fence about it, by the time I post my next video on this channel, I'll know a lot more about it and I'll be able to say yes or no. It won't be a review video, but I will definitely tell you the more 1 or 2 weeks into it review. And I'll have that same discount code and link then. With that, I think somebody just pulled up out front with a couple old cars, which those will be on the main channel. I'm going to let y'all go. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what part of the video was your favorite. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed hanging out. As always, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. And remember to get out there, find yourself an adventure. We'll see you next time.